Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back. This is What If Isagi Was a Genius Part 2. As always, if you enjoy, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. If you're on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating. Follow the Spotify, follow the podcast. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Show some love if you're on either platform. And yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say. And let's get right into the what if. Let's get it. Isagi Yoichi and his team, or Team Z, is gonna take on Team Y. They have been planning, game planning, and doing everything possible here on out. Isagi is an absolute mastermind, and he wants to show an absolute masterclass against this team. So when they step on the field, well, that's exactly what he shows. He shows an absolute masterclass. Isagi's team shows exactly why they are as good as they are. Isagi shows all of them that he and his team are capable of very, very high level tactics. And there is someone watching currently as they speak. Isagi is more or less trying to kind of guide his team and do this and do that and show them exactly what they're capable of and exactly what they can do. And this leads them to domination against Nico and Okawa and Team Y. The domination is insane. It all relies on exploiting what Nico only thinks he's capable of. They exploit the fact that Nico only wants to be the distributor, only wants to pass the ball around, and Isagi, let's just say, he makes game plans against that specifically, trapping Nico and obviously forcing him into passes that he can't make, and they would steal the ball. Gagamaru, using his athleticism, would set himself up for beautiful goals, diving across the field, and just as they're starting to basically make cracks in the armor of Team Y, it's pretty obvious that Team Z will completely take this game by storm. They would steal the ball once again as a quick pass would try to go to Okawa, but Isagi, excuse me, would have this scouted out. Isagi would have it scouted out and steal the ball from a mid-air Okawa, and he would quickly pass the ball to Bachira. Bachira would look up as he does a beautiful lobbing pass to Kunigami. As while it's in midair, Kunigami would look to actually kick the ball into the goal. He would do just that, and it would be a beautiful score for his team and a beautiful goal overall. Isagi watches and claps as his team continues to absolutely cut down this other team and absolutely just show how much this game planning means to what's going on. But there's one thing that is going through Jinpachi Ego's mind at the moment, is that Isagi, he's winning. And he's winning not because he's the best on the field, but because of the way his mind works. It's insane. And he finds it to be pretty cool in general. But he thinks to himself, can Isagi really keep up with the best of Blue Lock? I mean, what happens when he has to take on someone else and he's just not as good as them? Isagi may be talented, but he's thrived off of his game planning, his thinking, his way of approaching this entirely. Maybe he won't be as good when he can't rely on those things, when things around him collapse and when he has to work on his own, when his athleticism isn't enough to keep up with anyone. He's not 100% sure, but I mean, it's something to think about. Even with all that said though, the end of this game would end in an absolute obliteration of Team Y, and Isagi would walk away from this game knowing how just alpha his team truly is. This would lead them directly into the very next game, in which his game plan would revolve around stopping the Wanama twins, and this would need Chigudi's help. Luckily enough, a bit of convincing would go through, and Chigudi would finally break off of that whole I'm going to quit soccer thing or quit football thing, and he would finally kind of break into his new form, his way of playing football. Isagi game plans around Chiguri, game plans around not only Chiguri but also, well, everyone else. And basically there's a conversation that is had for the game against the Wanama twins with Chiguri about setting himself up to be kind of like that main person for this game. And Chiguri eventually would kind of decide to do this, and let's just say, in terms of the Wanama twins' egos, it would hurt their egos pretty bad, because Chiguri running around destroying them, it seemingly getting matchup nightmares, is an absolute crazy fest for Isagi, and a crazy fest for Chiguri himself. And frankly, Chiguri would be kind of taken back by this. Like, this is insane. Like, that he's getting put in positions that he's never seen possible. That it's as if Isagi is like an actual coach, like a real life coach. Like, he should be coaching this game, less of actually, playing it. And with Jinpachi ego, he might think this as well. Now, Isagi's not a bad player, and he's been able to get through all of this for a reason, because he has potential as a football player no matter what. But Ego's been thinking about something, and he's been hearing a lot of whispers and rumors about what's happening and a possible defunding of Blue Lock. And especially with his want to actually kind of add to Blue Lock with some holographic technology, he considers that maybe Isagi himself, being kind of a coach, might be better for Blue Lock in itself. It might sound odd, and yes, he is trying to find the greatest striker, but Isagi has things and has kind of like a mind for the game different than anyone else. So maybe, just maybe, that would be the best position for Isagi. With all that done and dusted, well, Jinpachi Ego wants to put his theory to the test. He thinks to himself that if he feels this way about this kid, he thinks that, well, he could really transcend whatever's to come. Well, he wants to speak with him. So that's what he does. He brings Isagi in for a bit of a meeting, and he actually is speaking with him one-on-one in a different room. He's obviously still on a computer screen, but Isagi speaks with him, and they speak about why he's there. Jinpachi Ego would remark that the kid has talent. He's smart, maybe borderline genius. And Isagi would remark that he is a genius, and that's why he's here, and that's why his team is doing so well. And Jinpachi Ego would agree. He would say that is true. You are a genius. That is why your team's doing so well. But there's something that we need to speak about. You see, kid, I think you would be better suited somewhere else. Yes, you could be a striker, midfielder. You could be even better than everyone else here. The way you see the field, the way you understand it. But there's going to be people more athletic, taller, bigger, everything. Better than you. And all you have to rely on is your mind. So imagine you get to bottle up all that love for soccer, for football, make all the money in the world, but you don't even gotta play. You gotta help other people play. Isagi would be kind of confused by this, and he would ask him, what do you think he's doing now? And Jinpachi Ego would tell him that he can go on, try to be a striker, be this immaculate striker, and try to be the national team, Japan's national team striker. Go through Blue Lock, win, hopefully. Or he can hone him to being the best coach ever. And him hearing this, he's kind of taken back, and he says that him being a coach is not something he's thought about. I mean, come on. We're talking about something that he doesn't necessarily want to do, but at the same time, something he's considered with how smart and how much of a genius he truly is. The way he manipulates the field all of the stuff he does, he doesn't need to be on the field to do it. He could be off the field and still do it. And it's been proven, especially with what's going on. And Ego would want to prove this to him. Show him that he'll be so much better, well, outside of this. So much better as a coach than he would ever be as a player. And, well, of course, Isagi would ask, how is this possible? I mean, how are you going to prove this to me? And Jinpachi Ego would tell him that they're going to prove it one way or another. He'll show him. Ego tells him that there's a couple things that's going to happen, all right? And he needs to listen. So first off, they're going to be canceling the last 2 matches, or the last match in between both Team Z and also Team V. You both have already more or less gotten past this point, and you don't need to be there anymore. You don't need to even play. So you guys automatically go into the next round. And Ego would tell him that the next thing they're doing is they're dealing with a holographic goalkeeper, Blue Lock Man. And it's a bit of a training. If he wants to do that, he can. But just know that if he gets eliminated, it's over for him. But Ego tells him that he'll guarantee his way into the next selection if he does something differently. He automatically will get past Blue Lock Man, but what's after is 3 versus 3s. And he tells him that, well, he can more or less pick a team and coach them. And he'll coach them all the way through, being when they're 3 versus 3. If they lose for 2 versus 2, so he can coach them all the way through. And if they win, well, he'll not only provide him a spot in the next selection alongside with them, but also a guaranteed spot on the field when they take on someone else. In which he questions, well, what is he talking about, someone else? What is going to happen? In which Ego says that there's just murmurs right now. So he doesn't want to say anything outlandish, but knowing them, well, it's practically a guarantee. Ego doesn't tell him much more, but says that there'll be a team at the end of it that they'll have to face. And he'll even get a word in for him in terms of dealing with some of the best players in the world. Kid, you can be a millionaire. You can make so much money, travel the world, and guess what? You're still doing and helping the sport you love so much. Trust me, this is a deal made in heaven. Something that nobody else here would even get. Ego would tell him this, and Isagi would think about it, and he would take his challenge on. He would tell him that, okay, that's what he'll do. He'll decide to not actually participate in Blue Lock Man. He'll skip out on this one game as long as his team gets in for free, or more or less don't have to worry about this next game, and he'll coach a team. Whatever team, well, Ego wants him to coach. Ego says that he'll pick. He can pick people from Team Z. He can pick a team that's not from Team Z. But it's up to him. He just wants to prove to him how good he truly would be and how different pieces of a puzzle would change everything. And, of course, Isagi, hearing this, would be interested. Different pieces of a puzzle, huh? Okay, Mr. Jinpachi Ego. I think I'm gonna take you up on this offer. Why not? Let's see what you got in store for me and everyone else here. So, Isagi is let go, and he goes back to Team Z, the room where Team Z currently is. He tells all of his friends, or now friends and teammates, that, well, he won't be playing anymore. It doesn't seem like he'll be playing. He'll actually be, well, coaching a team in the next selection. Everyone's kind of taken back by this. He's just a kid. Like, he's younger than some of them. But he tells them that it seems like Ego has a different plan for him. And knowing him, the way he's acting, is he probably has a different plan for every single person here. He tells them this, but he also says that before he leaves, he wants to work with every single last one of them. At the end of the day, he gets to choose what team of 3 he works with, and that's what Ego has said. So he wants to work with every last one of them to make sure that he has them all in tip-top shape. Most of them that are there agree to this. I mean, they've seen what Isagi is able to do. His genius is able to bring the best out of every last person, but just in a different way. And maybe this coaching slot is good for him. He can pick out exactly what their weaknesses, their plus, their minuses, all of it, and he can make them into insane players. That's what he wants to make them do. And being that he's a genius, he can also dissect every single thing they do wrong, single thing they do right, and just how they could do every single thing better. So he starts with Bachira, talking about his dribbling capabilities, his passing, and also talks about certain things that make him weaker, and also his want to play on his own. He says he needs to channel that, his love for football, and channel that into his dribbling. Be so unorthodox that it's unpredictable. And he tells him different ways that he's seen him dribble, and also tells him that mixing up every single thing in a different sequence would help. He talks to Kunigami, works with him, and even tells him that the utilization of both of his feet would make him an absolute formidable foe. At the end of the day, not many people can use both of their feet. Actually, there's the best player in the world can, and that man is Noel Noah. He talks to Gagamaru, telling him that his athleticism is insane, but it honestly might be better at goalie. But if he doesn't want to play goalie, his athleticism will carry him a very long way. Isagi would write down a ton of things that he could do with his athleticism, and then he gives it to him. He does the same thing for Chiguri, Raichi, and many others, trying to get them to realize their full and utter potential. And he says that these are just words. As a coach, you can only give words, encouragement, and confidence. But I cannot play the game for you. But he can show everyone the proper way. With all that said, days would pass, and well, Isagi would be taken out of the room, taken out of the building, and he would no longer be with Team Z. He awaits as he watches all of these players, piles of them, tons of them, as they all play. They all actually play together, and they all just basically work against Blue Lock Man. They all try their best to defeat him. Some falter, fall short. Others pass with flying colors. And Isagi watches very closely, very, very closely at all these people that he wants to work with. He decides he's not going to work with anybody from Team Z. He wants to work with people that aren't part of Team Z. And eventually he would see 3 people. Those 3 people, well, let's just say, would surprise him, because those 3 people are part of Team V. 3 people he's never seen. And those 3 are Zentetsu, Reo, and Nagi. He doesn't know who these are, doesn't know who they are at all, but he looks at them and he thinks that maybe this is the team he wants to coach, and this is the team that he wants to work with. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to work with Reo, Zentetsu, and Nagi, bringing out the fullest potential in all 3 of them, and game plan based on their own strengths and weaknesses. He begins looking at everything, looking at all the film, looking at every last bit of it. Even in this short amount of time, he does just that. He gets a grasp for what they can do, and, well, they don't even take on a challenge for quite a bit. But eventually, the 3 of their names would be called in somewhere, called into a different room by Jinpachi Ego. Isagi would be sitting there at a table while the 3 of them walk in, and Isagi would tell them that them 3, they have potential, but he wants to awaken them even further. Some of them are skeptical, Nagi included, saying that this is boring. But Isagi, kind of knowing who Nagi is now through just pure studying, tells him that he's here to make football fun for him. He's here to make it enjoyable again. In which Nagi Well, he hears this and it piques his interest, and a slight smile would appear on his face. And he tells Reo that Reo is a crutch, and it seems as if he's helping them, but he's hurting them at the same time. It's time for him to awaken something that he's seen glimpses of already. It's time for him to awaken his inner chameleon. And in hearing all of this, well, let's just say excitement would boil within not only Reo, not only Zentetsu, but even Nagi. This team coached by Isagi, and the trust that they have already for Isagi because of the fact that, let's be honest, when you have a person speaking so intelligently about everything, all these things that they shouldn't know but somehow know, for some reason they trust him. They think that, you know what, it's not gonna hurt. Let's put their chances in his hands. They walk through those doors, and well, there's one team waiting. One team and one team only. And that team is Rin. That team is Aru and Tokumitsu. And they stand there waiting for an opponent. Isagi tells them that they should take them on. Trust him. Take them on and play this chess battle and trust themselves at making themselves better. That a loss here means so little, so minuscule. He tells them that there is no way that they will lose here, though. He has it all calculated in his head, and he sees game plans all over his own whiteboard that don't even exist quite yet. And they decide to take him on. There's a little leeway period between this time. Jinpachi Ego even allows for it, being that of a time of 1 hour. Very little time, and frankly, Reo thinks that this isn't enough time, but Isagi begins to draw things out in a matter of minutes, and he shows everything. Shows the weaknesses of Rin, Tokumitsu, and Aru. Shows exactly everyone's tendencies, and tells them exactly the type of player Rin and the other two are. They're all shocked to see this, and they're taken back by this, asking if he's some sort of prodigy coach, and he says that he's a striker just like all of them. He just has, well, a little bit more brains than brawn. With all that said, though, the next games are for the next part. And if you enjoyed, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. If you're on Spotify, like I said, leave a 5-star rating. Follow the podcast. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I hope y'all enjoyed, as always. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.